They were kids. Creed guessed the oldest was maybe 13, 14 at the most. 3 girls, 2 boys. One boy looked younger than 10. Each of them crawled slowly out of the hold like a timid animal, needing assistance, then jerking and blinking at the sunlight. Wild eyes darted all around, looking for permission as much as trying to anticipate what came next in this terrifying journey. They were filthy, hair matted and tangled in clumps, faces dirty and feet bare and bruised. Despite the stink of fish, Creed could smell the sweat and urine and feces that soiled their clothes. But through the smears of dirt and grime, one thing was obvious. These weren't Colombian kids. They weren't being trafficked from their South American homes to the United States. Now, in the sunlight, even the dirt and grime couldn't hide the obvious. Smears revealed blonde hair and streaks of white skin, as pale as the fish bellies that surrounded them. These kids looked like they were from the United States. Creed remembered what Commander Wilson had said about this vessel bypassing feeding grounds for mahi-mahi, its hold filled but continuing south, out of the Gulf of Mexico and closer to the coast of Colombia. Usually, traffickers smuggled people into the United States. When did it start to go both ways? Were they delivering this cargo to South America? Everyone on board had gone silent, even the guardsmen, as they helped the kids up. They'd been looking for smuggled cocaine, not human cargo, and certainly not kids. The wind had calmed, almost as if it also were gasping at their revelation. In the silence, Creed could hear the lapping of waves against the boat. A few gulls dared to hover closer to inspect the load of fish. But there was still a faint humming, a sad whimper like that of a scared or wounded animal. The same sound Creed had heard before the floorboards were yanked away. Grace had heard it first, and she still cocked her head, listening. Creed saw that her eyes were staring at the source, and he followed her gaze. The sound was coming from the littlest boy. He was small, with bony shoulders and stick legs. Creed caught a glimpse of his eyes. Fear had been replaced with the vacant look that often accompanies an overload of shock. His skinny arms were wrapped tight across his body, his chin tucked into his chest. He didn't look scared or upset. He simply didn't look like he was there anymore. An empty shell. Except for the whimper that came from inside him. It came without him opening his mouth or even moving his lips. The other kids didn't seem to notice. Their own eyes were just as vacant. And their rescuers? The guardsmen glanced at one another, and Creed thought they looked lost and uncomfortable. They were used to dealing with the criminals who did this sort of thing. They rescued victims from capsized boats and ministered to those brought out of the water. Usually their victims were glad to see them. But these kids cowered, as if they still weren't sure who was friend or foe. And the guardsmen responded by keeping a safe distance, not wanting to treat them like cornered animals, refraining from any attempt to touch or comfort, afraid it might spook the kids even more. It was Liz Bailey, the Coast Guard rescue swimmer, and the only woman on board, who broke the silence. Suddenly she was there, having waded down through the mahi-mahi. She still wore her flight suit, and instead of its bright orange fabric scaring the children, they all looked at her as if they were bedazzled. Creed had to admit that with her short, spiky hair and aviator sunglasses, she did look like a superhero. "Let's get you something to drink," she said to them, while she pulled bottles of water and sports drinks from her shoulder pack. Creed was closest to Bailey, and he moved in to help distribute her offerings. That's when he noticed that the rescue swimmer's hands were trembling. "We need to get you hydrated." Her voice was friendly and soothing, but had the authority of a mother at summer camp, and it didn't reveal an iota of the tremor or her uncertainty. But the kids still didn't move. Bailey gave the drinks to Creed to hold. She dug into her bag again. "I have protein bars, too," she told them. The kids didn't budge. Instead, they huddled even closer together. The oldest girl just stared at Bailey, as if she knew there could be nothing.